Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu Jamii. My name is Betty. I am your host today, and I am excited to have experts with me who are going to help us through a discussion that you definitely want to be part of. So today we are talking about molding character in children. If you are a parent, a teacher, you probably know that this has been such a milestone in life. In our society today, we have many issues regarding our children. And today I would love this addressed by the guests that I have today. It is said always that ladies first, but today I want to break that rule and just say I will start with the gentleman. Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Silas Grenya. I'm a counseling psychologist and the CEO of Amazon Counseling Center.
Welcome, Silas.
Thank
the
you.
ladies.
Thank you so much. My name is Neri Joroge. I'm head of an institution, one of the largest in the city of Nairobi. Thank you.
Welcome, Nelly.
My name is Clara Zawadi. I'm working with Lifeguard Kenya for children and women.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you once again. And as you see from our topic, really, it is such a task raising children. A lot of parents have given up and they have just said, you know what, we can't do this. Live your own life, find your own path. We will meet somewhere someday. You'll get to be an adult. It's not only, I will not be the first parent to let go of my children to do whatever they want. And so at this point, I have a psychologist, I have a teacher, and I have a parent. So if I will start with you, Nelly, how do you mold the character of a child? I guess you are a parent, not just a head teacher, but also you spend most of the time with the children compared to their parents, I guess.
Yes, thank you so much, Betty. It is the child that you bring to us. I'm a parent, yes.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. And I think my wide experience is because of the two. I tackle the young ages all the way from age 5 to age 17. And happens that my children are in the same age bracket. So it is been the nature of the way that these children are brought up, the way they are brought up by their parents brings up the character in them. Because character is not about the teacher alone. Being a teacher, I may not make it, but there must be a parent who is going to support me, and the way the child is brought up matters a lot in life. So upbringing of a child from the formative ages, from age 0 to around 12 years, that determines the character of a child. So we pick them up at the age of 5 years, and at the age of 5 years we observe those children the way they are presented to us. And at times it is very challenging for a teacher who handles the child at the age of 5, and at this age the child has been brought up in the 5 years of the first stages in an environment that is not very friendly. So as a teacher, when the teacher receives the child at the age of 5, actually sometimes it is the cooperation that the parent you come up with, the presentation, the way the child is presented to the teacher, that you assist us to form that child to be the right child that we would wish to have in the society.
So the participation and the cooperation of the parent is of paramount importance.
Very.
Silas, when I listen to Nelly, what I hear is that the parent determines, the character of their child. It is not necessarily the work of the teacher. And so what role should a parent play to shape up the character of their child? Is it in the parent to shape up?
It is, yes. The character formation basically happens within the first to the 5th year.
Oh.
First to the 5th year, you're formed like 80% of a character of a person.
Really?
Yes. And within those years, we know they are the years that they live with their parents. So whatever it is that they observe, because children observe more than they hear, they will actually have formed a mindset. So the character of a person is impended in the mindset of a child. And so changing the mindset later on it can be really, really a task, if I can put it so. So that's why at the age of 0 to 5, actually, when we talk of 0, we are referring even to days even before the child is born, because there is already a communication between the mom and the baby. And so that communication goes on, and then the child is born, and then up to 5 years. Of course, even after that, a character can still be formed, because when you define a character, basically, a character is that which subsists, which is exhibited in the life of a person oftentimes, such that if you're upright, I'm likely to see you as an upright person in a party where everybody else is smoking or doing other things. So it's that which subsists. So parents actually have a key role to play in the character formation.
It is their role to shape up this
It
child.
is.
You know what surprises me a lot of times is that you find 5 or more children raised under one roof by same parents, but they all emerge so differently. I know the teacher would easily say that all children are not the same. There are those who are A grade students and those that are D and E and C, you know. But having been brought up by the same parents, trying shaping them in the same form. You know, no parent wants the child to go astray or to do some weird things, you know, much as they did not grow up to that standard. Every parent wants to shape up the children in the best way. And I am not surprised that actually it is the parents who need to shape up their child. Coming to you, Zawadi, what experience have you had in raising your children? Has it been easy for you?
Not at all. My children is very, very disturbing. Because at age of 12 years, I realized that my children is not my children I raised starting from the beginning to now. Since COVID-19, my children have changed, really changed.
How many children do you have?
For me, I have 2 children and the 56 I raise from the orphans. So
What is the age of your children?
between age,
The ones you have, your very own, the 2
13 and 11.
and 11.
Yeah.
13 and 11.
Yeah.
And you're saying they're very stubborn.
Very disturbing. You can't even imagine, because when you told a child, just to go and do this, he look at you like you are not even his mother. When you send her away, he told you, no, I can't go. I'm tired. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So you can help us to do it.
And that has not been the normal.
Yeah, it's not normal.
It just started like a year ago.
A year ago, imagine. So when I'm going out, sometimes I'm going out to do something, I left them in the house. When you come back, everybody is not around. When they come back, when you ask them, where have you been? They told you, Mommy, we went to someone's house. And you didn't even ask for permission to go? No.
Silas, when you hear about that, it's not a strange thing.
Yeah, it's something.
What is this that happens to children? You know, what I really get disturbed about is the fact that children have ears. Children are supposed to be obedient, but you have to say one thing like 10 times for them to do. Is this a character of all children?
Now, with the children, I must say that there are a number of other things that are involved in the character formation. Maybe I can, other than just focusing on parenting, there are other, like for example, there are inherent abilities. That means inborn abilities of a child, or maybe perception. Then there is environment as well, okay, that the child is growing up in. But also there are other things like biological and, you know, drugs and there are other things that can be involved. Now, it is the nature of the child to be taught one thing several times. Why? Because
it's the nature.
It's their nature.
And so it's okay.
That's how they are.
Okay.
Only that now what will determine the outcome of a child is how you respond to that normal, which as parents you think is abnormal. That's why then you come in with the parenting styles.
Wait, Silas, did you just say it is normal for a parent to say one thing 5 times and it's not done?
Yes.
It's normal.
Yes, it's normal.
That's normal.
It's quite normal.
Does that happen in school?
It does happen, Madam Betty.
Uh-huh.
That happens several times.
In
and we're
school?
used to it.
Uh-huh.
But we know In case where a parent is well organized and they have been able to bring up, at the age of 5 when we receive these children, at times you find they are different in characters. And when we look at it, we can tell the character that is brought to us is coming from where they are brought up. So we have different characters depending on where they are coming from. There are cases that you can say 5 times. There are cases you can say 1 time and you say, yes, teacher.
And it's done.
Yes, and it's done. Even as young as they are at 5 years. You know, 5 years we are just new to them. But there are cases where they will just respond very positively. There are cases where they will be talking like Cyrus is saying 5 times. But as we continue with them, as they grow up, as they stay with us for years, they change.
Wow, that is hope. That is hopeful. They actually change. I wonder at what point they change. But Silas, before I cut you short, you're talking about the environment, you know, the factors that help in shaping up. You mentioned inherent and maybe genes, and you mentioned the environment, yes, and parenting styles. You know, what exactly, you know, should a parent do to determine or make their children be the ones that you just tell once and they do it? Because as much as parents say 5 times and it's not done, I'm so sure they're not happy about it. You know, that becomes the point of now struggling. You find yourself beating your child so badly. Yeah, because you have said, I mean, it's so easy. Take this glass from this table. Why should you come back and say it again and say it again? What prompts that?
So one, as a parent, is good to understand why do children behave the way they behave. One is going to understand that children will always seek attention. And that is obvious and that is normal. Although it can get to a level that actually you think this is an indie case. But oftentimes, a child will seek attention because they have a belief system, and almost all the children believe that way, that they belong when they are given attention.
Okay.
So that's why the child will just play around in the house, will try to climb something in the house, will try to show you a new skill that they have learned. They will try to, whatever, they can do whatever it is. They can kick a ball. Stop. Yes, just to have attention. Now, when you give them attention, they actually feel validated. And so they grow up in a nice way. But if you don't give them attention, what they will do is that they will still seek attention, but in a maladaptive way. And this is in cases, I think in school, I have noticed that those children who are naughty, sorry for using that word, at times they are given roles like leadership. They become prefects. And so when you give them that role, they are still getting the attention, so they will desist or they will stop from the behavior that they were practicing earlier on, which was maladaptive behavior. So they will now turn to this behavior of leadership. And so that way you shape their character. But others also will now start fighting so that still you give them attention. Because, for example, even if you're very busy as a mother, you're doing something, let's say you're working online, like we have been through this period. So when the child breaks the glass, you will definitely stop doing what you're doing, and you will go and listen to them. And so you still give them attention, but in a negative way. The second thing is that children will always fight for power and control. And that is in their nature, okay? Because they are establishing their identity in the universe. So they also need to be felt like I am making a contribution in the world. So they want to control. Now, if you allow them control in a negative way, then they will end up overruling everybody else. So it's good to make them understand that to belong, you actually do not need to overrule or overpower everybody. You don't have to enthrone yourself. There are many ways you can enthrone yourself in a way that you don't infringe the lives of other people. And so you have a conversation with them on that. Then the third thing that is clear when it comes to children, they will also try as much as they can to revenge. Why? Because revenge is embedded in the concept of fairness. So when a parent probably is not giving them attention, they will try to revenge that on in another way. And so what they will do is maybe they will beat up the others, or they will pronounce words like, I hate you, I don't like you, you whatever, you're all this. So as a parent, you need again to come in and set some limits. Tell them, okay, we can say, for example, that I know you feel like you hate someone, but maybe you can share the emotions, what you feel, other than saying, I hate you. You can come and talk to me. You can come and talk to the teacher and tell the teacher that so-and-so has really angered you. And then lastly, what happens is that with the children, they also try to display a sense of inadequacy. When they realize others are better than them, instead of now revenging, instead of taking the power, instead of seeking attention, they withdraw.
Yeah.
But they withdraw in a way that they will let you know that this is who they are. They are weak. They are not strong. They can't do this or the other thing. And so you as a parent also, if you're not very careful, you will agree with them there's nothing that can be done. And therefore the child becomes very passive.
I hear you. Zawadi, I saw you nod negatively when Silas said that it is normal for you to tell the child 10 times to do one thing and they don't follow. Why do you think it is not the right way?
Okay, you know, even us when we grew up, my mother used to tell me once, when he told you twice, you will kneel down. And she will beat you thoroughly. So I just think I cope with that like my
That
mother do.
upbringing.
Yes.
Yes.
So when I just want to call my daughter, Wendy, why are you doing this? Stop it. I
And
just
they stop.
need to stop it immediately, not continuous going with that every day. So, you know, when you grow up now, it's like I'm calling her several times. Even he can't even respond on it. He just look at me like a
statue.
A statue, a normal parent. He's just even see me like another neighbor. You see, when I told her just do this, he can't even do that because he look like I'm a grown up at 13 years old. Just imagine.
Nelly,
So I felt it badly because when I want to talk to my daughter, is at 13 years old, you don't want to hear me. Who else
can hear you?
Okay, now before I don't know that point, I think is a very important point.
Yes.
Now, like she's sharing, I know many parents, that's what we feel. But oftentimes, as parents, you know, we have assumed that we're in control, which is true, we are in control. Okay? But that does not mean that we are dictators to the children. Because the moment you tell the child to do something and she doesn't do or he doesn't do it, we feel as parents like we are being dethroned.
Yes.
So we are not parents anymore, so we are losing power. Yes. So it's more about us other than the character of the child and the outcome of the child.
Yes.
And so as parents, I think there are other skills, maybe we will have an opportunity to talk about later on. There are skills that you can bring in so that if that happens, then we still remain with the child. We don't abandon the child and just focus only on punishment, but we focus more on discipline. Yes.
Wow, that's important. Yes.
Another thing,
yes.
When he hears somebody come in, like a guy or whatever, he has really changed. He wants to sit next to that guy, you see. And when guy send her away, he goes, but me, he can't. So I don't know what the problem is that.
Nelly, have you experienced such kinds of things in school? Of course, I know that does happen, but you know, with the presence of authority, you know, being that there's a teacher. At home, children can pretend when their mommies and dads are there, they can actually be really humble and pretend. But when parents are out, they're like, we have all the freedom. In school, sounds like another prison, another cage where I cannot do whatever I want. How do you manage to shape the character of the children in the school setup?
Thank you so much, Betty. I want to echo what Zawadi has just said. It's very normal to have those children misbehaving the way they do. And we know this child, we analyze them in 3 characters. There is the way they come on their way to school, they are different people. When they're at home, they are different people. And when they're in school, they are 3 people in one child. And when we have parents meeting, that is when we capture that, because a parent will tell you something that you not believe. On the way when they are coming to school, you also have been able to access the community where they pass through, and they tell that different story. So we realize we have one child who has 3 different characters. Sometimes you may tell a parent how the child behaves well in school, and the parent is like, what?
That's
I
not
mean,
my
because
child.
that's not my child. Maybe there's something that I don't know about him or
Yeah.
her. So we realize that unless you're very keen as a parent to know your character, the character of the child, you may be cheated. And they are very good at that. They may play those games until when you realize when they are already beyond
Yes.
measure. And therefore, as a parent, we have been advising, when you have parents meeting, we always advise them to get an audience with their children so that they know the type of character they are, where they passed, how they had their day. Parents being very busy these days. We know sometimes they come to school before they see their parents. Then at the end of the day, they may not have to see their parents because maybe the parents is delayed somewhere. So we realize that unless you are very keen as a parent, you may never know your child. But a teacher has an opportunity of knowing this child because the teacher will stay with the child from 7. Some of them arrive in school at 7.
Yes.
And we
Even
believe-
to 6 in the evening.
Yeah, even to 6 because they have
Yeah.
nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And they go all the way up to around 5. There are some places where there is no electricity and the child is more comfortable doing the homework in school. And because of the love of the teacher, they tend to be with them until late hours because you're also concerned that this child is mine until from the time they enter the gate to the time they leave the gate. They are our children. And
You know,
they are-
there's a cheating game that goes on in the life of children that I really don't like. The way they relate with their teachers is so different. It's a different thing from the way they are at home. And like you have said, they are like a 3-in-1 human being. I think I don't doubt you. But I'm wondering, Silas, what exactly happens to children that they just change and now it's not safe at home anymore? It's safer in school, it's safer with their buddies, it's safer in a different environment. You know, like what she's saying, when parents go to her and say that their children are so rowdy and naughty, and she's saying, no, they are very good and well-mannered. Some parents, that is a different story. Some parents think that their children are very good, but when they get to school, again, it's the opposite story. What happens that a child would play with the psychology of the parent and know that I am home, this is the way to behave, I am in school, this is the way. What is that in the child and when does it start?
Children oftentimes, they don't know sometimes they are playing games.
Oh, they don't know?
They are surviving. They are surviving according to them. It's just surviving. They don't look at it like you're playing games to this or that. There are others those are intentional, that they are doing it intentionally, but majority actually do not know. The thing is because there is disparity between the environment in school and the environment at home and the society. And so a child, because a child has not developed mental skills to enable them be consistent in terms of character, remember the character is still being formed,
Yes.
so they are not consistent. So what will happen is they will come home, they assess the environment, they realize this environment is not friendly. They go to school, everybody is celebrating them, teachers appreciate them. When they do something, they are told thank you and congratulations, and so they feel more safe at school than at home.
Tell us whatever you mean by this environment is not friendly. I am yet to hear. I have a teacher and I have a parent. You know, a lot of children often complain, home kuna bo. Hakuna kuwatch TV, hakuna nini. I mean, they have gotten homework from school. They should come and do. If this is not done, then the next day I should be giving a report to Madam Nelly why the homework was not done. She's going to call me. Was there no power? Did you give the child too much house chores? How come homework was not done? So when they come home, I mean, the environment I want to create and provide is the environment to work. As in men, before you go outside and play, you're going to do the work. You have to do the work. So what do you mean by a friendly environment? She also mentioned that she encourages parents to talk and talk and talk to their children. You know, recently, I'll just tell you guys, the students who actually know a lot more than their parents do, what do you want them to talk about? They may not tell you precisely what is inside of them. You will want to talk about food and weather and what are we dressing tomorrow. What do you talk about?
Okay. Now, that will depend also, I think, on the rapport that you have created with the children and the parental styles you're using. Allow me now to talk about parental styles because I think that's necessary for this case. We have 4 kinds of parental styles. One is authoritarian. Authoritarian is whereby you are the master of the house.
Okay.
And so you're the one who makes rules. You're the one who will execute those rules. You're the one who will also give punishment if necessary, if rules are not followed. And so if a child is growing in that kind of environment, then one thing is they will learn to survive. Not really like to live in an autonomous way, not to live where they're taking responsibility, but they live by fear. And so you can see things like lies, and you can see other things like passive aggressive. Now, passive aggressive, basically what it means is you say yes, but you do no. Okay? So that's the simplest definition I can give.
Yes.
And so when children realize now with Dan, I have to say yes. If I don't say yes, I'm done. Or with mom, I have to say yes. So what they will do is they will say yes to you, but they will do no. And that's where now the misbehavior comes in.
Yes.
Okay? So that's one style of parenting. And the other style is what we call authoritative.
So before you get to that next one, so when you say do this, like she had mentioned, she says, please do the dishes. She goes out and comes back, dishes are not done.
Yes.
So when she said that to her daughter, she said, okay, ma'am, I will. But when she came back, then she said what? She didn't do. By the time she returned, she didn't do, you know. So is that the kind of, is that how you parent your children, for example? You just give rules and go?
No. These, I just realized this recently.
That's not how they have been.
It's not has been for the former. I just realized that when the COVID-19 gets in, so when I told my children to do something, and I went to look for something for food or whatever, when I came back, nothing has done. They left it there. So it's like asking a question, Mommy, we don't see the shop, whatever, still wool, so we can't do without that. And so, they know where it is kept.
So they are giving you excuses.
Many.
Yes,
yeah.
Which is not actually the reality.
Yeah.
So you say A, they say yes, but they do B.
They do B.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are authoritarians or authoritative
There's
parents.
a sense of authoritarian there. Because with authoritarian is, you know, children ask a lot of whys. Eh?
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
Why? And when a child is asking why, it's not questioning your authority. It's basically asking you for explanation. And do you know what we do? The answer is, if you're authoritarian, you say, because I said so. Why did you not clean? Because I said, the child will ask, Mom, why should I clean? And I was supposed to do this and the other thing. Or I was watching this. Why did you want me to clean? And so as a mother, you come in, as a father, you come and tell the child, because I said so, you must do it. And so there is no negotiation.
And
you know what you've
wrong.
done? You have blocked them. So even later on, when they get to the age that you're talking about, that they know more than parents, which I'm not very sure what it is that they know, but at that point, they will not still see the need of talking to you, because you already blocked them long time ago. But if you're that parent who has been there for them, which is now authoritative, what I was mentioning, if you've been there for them, then even that which they know, they think they know more than you, they will find a way of sharing it with you. So that's why if it's technology they know, they will talk to you about it. If it's about love that they know, they will share with you somehow. Or even challenge you the way you relate, dad and mom. We have seen that happening. But I think our case is a bit unique, because at the age of 13, the child is already getting into teenage, you know, and getting to early adolescent. And so at early adolescent, what is happening? They are preparing themselves, they are preparing their character, their identity, and they listen to peers more than parents. And that is normal with the children at that point.
That's normal.
They listen to their peers more than the parent at that point. So they are not more attached, they are less attached to authority and more attached to their peers. Why? Because they want to find a place in the world. They want to belong to others at that point.
Do they lose the things they have learned from their parents at this stage?
Now, it depends. If, for example, a child grew up in authoritative parenting, then the child will not lose, because those abilities are still in them. They have already been taught a sense of responsibility.
Because if they don't lose, then they should be able to be in control, even when that challenge comes. When they get to that age, they should remember, my mom taught me like this is how my teacher taught me, and so I should be able to overcome.
Or I have to follow the...
Yes, I need to follow what I was taught. Yes.
Now, when you reason that way, you're reasoning like an adult.
Yes.
You're reasoning like an adult. For them, they don't have that mental development to actually take charge. They are at a point that they can easily be swayed into their peers. But even if they go, they don't go too far. But of course, some go all the way. But they don't go too far. They only want to associate themselves and identify themselves with their friends. But then after that, when they get back home, they know responsibility is key. And so they will be very responsible in this other side. Okay? And so that is the balance that is there. So that's why authoritative is one of the best parenting styles of parenting, because there's a sense of democracy. So even when you establish a rule with the children, you sit them like a whole family, and then you discuss that from today onwards, we want to agree on a few things.
You can negotiate.
Yes, you can negotiate.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Here is a question whereby your daughter told you something. Our teacher told us to buy a book, buy for us a book. And you told, I don't have money today, I will buy it when I get money. So when it came, she went in the room, closed the door, starting crying, doing nothing. What's all about this?
Ah, okay. So I hear you. Now, that is more about, of course, there's a bit of upbringing there, because if a child has grown up in an authoritative kind of parenting, will know that there are responsibilities and there are demands for responsibilities. And so it means for me to have a book, then my mom probably needs to get a job or to get some money. And so the child understands that. But when the child is not able to understand, probably then there are other, which I'm going to touch on, there are other parenting styles that have been put in place. But of course, like what I said, there are inherent abilities.
Yes.
Okay?
Which
whereby a child will interpret no as in you don't care. No as in you don't love me. Yes, but with authoritative parenting, no is just a normal answer like any other answer. No today, but it can be yes tomorrow. But with a child who has a fixed mindset, the moment you say no, then they read you don't love them, you don't care, they are not like others,
because
so they
you
will
don't
withdraw.
give an explanation.
They adapt some characters in school, whereby, you know, some parents were rich, some were poor, and they went school together. So when they reach there, you see, Madam Nelly have book, and me I don't have. Mean my mom doesn't
care.
Nelly,
Nelly, when you listen to the conversation, I guess you are better placed to tell us what all this is about. How are you helping the parents to shape, to form the character? Because you stay longer with our children than us, the parents at home.
Thank you so much, Betty. I actually admire the way Cyrus has brought it up. And on top, I feel like Zawadi is doing it even better. But there is one thing I must confirm, that some parents are very protective.
Okay.
And that has been the bone of, I mean, I wouldn't say that is where they are getting spoiled, but there are that's of a protection that comes with some parents. That when even you are in school, the parent want to see that the child has reached the class, the door of the class, when we have us about 500 meters from the gate. But we all have always been assuring them they are safe there. But there are some parents who have also been blaming other children elsewhere and saying, my child was okay, she's been spoiled by another one. But when we look at it, it's kind of a defense mechanism. Because if this child has been formed, the character has been formed to the expected, there is no way that child will ever change. And even the Bible says
there's no way they'll go astray.
There is no way. The Bible states very clearly.
Come peer pressure, they will not
change.
Okay.
The formation is the most crucial stage, and that is, like I give my own example. When I was growing up, I could not say haki ya Mungu because my mother trained me that kusema haki ya Mungu is a sin.
Yes.
And even when I went to school, even primary school, anytime I had somebody saying haki ya Mungu, I would just wonder, where is this one brought up? In our mother tongue, it sounds even worse. It sounds even worse because it's Mayangai. You know, to me it was a sin. Because my parent had brought me up knowing that saying haki ya Mungu is like insulting God. So if a parent has formed this character from home, and the teacher comes in and picks it up, there is no way this child will go astray. So even if there is peer pressure, the child will be able to say no. The child will be able to say no to no and yes to yes.
So how are you helping the parents who have brought their children and their children don't seem to follow the straight path. And you as a teacher, you also have the responsibility because you want to make work easier for you. You know, if you have given this child assignments, honestly, you don't want to do page 1 to 5 the entire 5 days of the week. You want this child to move now from this page now to the next and to the next. How do you help the parents with that since you spend the longer time with them?
Thank you so much, Madam Betty. We have had meetings with these parents. Those who are willing to be assisted, we actually have forums with them during our open days. And we have one-on-one with the parent. And it has been very assisting because the parent the child my mother came to school and they talked with the teacher. Probably they don't discuss what they discuss because some things are very personal. You need to know how to approach it from home and you also need to know how to approach it from school. So when a parent comes, we are able to go into details of this child, the character at home, the character in school. Where are things not working? Is it on the way coming to school? Because the parent sometimes, I saw my daughter leave the house. And between home and school, I know where she passes. So when the teacher comes, she's able to see if this character is not coming. Is it because there's a problem on the way or is it at home? And if it's at home, how do we assist one another as a teacher? And then you also inform the child, your mother was here and she wanted to know how you're faring. And she told me you are very good. You also encourage and give those rewarding remarks. You are going to become, because most of them want to become doctors and engineers. You even can call the child Dr. So-and-so, Dr. Sawadi, Engineer Cyrus, or Teacher Neri. Some of them admire me and they will say, I want to become like Teacher Neri. And when you give them those affirmative and you assure them that it's possible, they even start working towards the same. And you tell them it cannot come just like that on a silver platter.
So somehow children fear authority. Because when you mention your mom was here, your dad was here, then they're like, oh, really? What did they say? And then the affirmation. Silas, before you take us to the next parenting style, when you listen to Nellie Kinley, she's bringing out that aspect of authority, which some children are not even moved by, as in, who was here? I don't care. And they just do their thing. You go into somebody's house, you find children, they never even get up to say hi. They never get up to leave you their seat. They just continue doing their thing. I don't think that is a good character. How are you supposed to do that? Because there are those children who argue, this is our home, this is boldness, this is somebody else coming to our home should not make me timid. And so they continue doing their thing in the name of boldness and, being a strong person. What do you think about that?
I think there is a sense of negative formation in that case. Because if a parent, you notice, like your child, for example, does not respect elderly people or people who are in some authority, of course, or every other human being, already you know as a parent that there is a problem in the life of that child.
Yes.
And so you need, you as a parent, to come in. You come in and, just like I said, create rapport first. That is the basis of everything. Create rapport. Let them look at you as their friend, but of course still know that you're the parent. Create very strong boundaries so that they know that their boundary is there. And once they know that, then what will happen is that they themselves, when they go wrong, for example, they don't greet so-and-so, you have a conversation with them. For example, ask them simple things like, if you are the president of this country, and then you went to a place, and there is a national anthem being sung, and no one stands, no one salutes, how would you feel as a president? And because the child understands very well where the president is, people must stand to welcome the president, the child will look at it from our perspective or from his perspective. And with that, then they will start looking at it differently, that I'm not being boast or I'm not being intimidated, I'm actually being respectful. So they understand it in a different way. But that concept comes up as a result of parenting that we call passivity or passive parenting. Passive parenting is when you are so friendly to the child more than being a parent. And so the child, you cannot also correct the child because you're afraid, if I correct my child will think that I hate them, I don't love them. And so you pamper them and give them everything that they need at any time that they want. And so the outcome of that, of course, is like cases where they hate authority, because authority will be assertive on a particular concept or perspective. Then this child now will feel intimidated at that point, because their mom, their dad allows them to do whatever. And these are parents, for example, they will come, a child is watching TV, and you come and tell them, please don't. And then you go. And then you come back, they're still watching, and tell them, please, I told you not to watch. And then you go and still come and find them there. Or they ask you, Mom, I want your phone. And you just give them the phone. Because by not giving them, you'll be intimidating them. Okay? And so that is how they learn that concept. And then finally, the last concept that I want to mention about parenting is what we call uninvolved parenting or neglecting parenting. This is where you are not available. Sometimes you can be available physically, but emotionally you're not. And so in this case, then children parent themselves. And so they don't have rules. And so when they go to school, they can take your shoe, they can take your pen, they can whatever, because they parent themselves. So they are the ones who created their own rules and follow their own rules, but they don't follow the rules of other people. Or in that case, then what will happen is the outcome of this child, the child will be very indecisive, or they will be very independent to a point that they cannot welcome any other person in their space. They can't listen to another person because they are their own parent. Yeah, that's what happens.
We actually are out of time, but I would like you to just mention, maybe in your parting shots, how do you punish, I know probably Zawadi would get really angry and just spank so badly. And right now also our government decided there's no beating. Yes. How do you punish?
I want to just say that we as teachers do not anymore give corporal punishment. And our way of punishing a child is just talking with them and making them feel that they deserve. We do cancel. Let me say we don't punish. Punishing them is just cancelling them and giving what we know best. Like, for example, making them feel that they need to do the right thing.
So you just say that over and over again.
Over and over again. Hey. And we also get the support from the parents. The parents are the ones we take responsibility. We give the responsibility. We just ask, can we meet the parent? That is the only punishment we give. Can your parent come? Even parents come into school. And for example, if
freaks them out a lot.
It is. That is the way of punishing. Otherwise, we don't do anything else. And it's working. It's working well.
It's working. The talking is working.
It's working.
Oh, really?
It is.
Oh, that's encouraging. So, okay, Zawadi, how do you?
I just do this. Sometimes I go to school. Normally go to school where my daughters is. So when I reach there, I talk to the teacher first. We want to tour. So when we reach in the office, we call all of them and some kids. They say, we want to beat you now. Say, forgive me, mommy. I will not do it again. He started.
Okay. Do they actually stop and don't do it again?
Yeah.
Oh, they don't. They stop.
Yes,
they change.
Because teacher says, I want to beat you in front of your
parents.
Mother. And I say, even me, I will beat you today. The kids are there, so standing, looking at them. They are laughing, some are laughing. So they fear that.
That sounds intimidating, but it works. I am surprised. Silas, how are we supposed to punish? There are those people who say spank, and some parents really spank to, not even to change the child, but to get rid of their anger. And some try to withdraw goodies and things that they like, and somehow it doesn't work, Silas. You still have to talk 1,000 times. I'm trying to find hope and agreement with you that it is okay to say 10 times. That is really hard. I wish, how do you punish?
Okay.
There's no need of punishing if we still have to say 10 times and it's okay.
One thing is we need to differentiate is between punishing and discipline. Because those two concepts are different. If you look at discipline, even from the Latin one that it has been derived from disciplina, it talks of instructing, giving knowledge, and empowering. So that means if the child is wrong on a specific aspect, other than humiliating them, you actually give them knowledge, now try to discuss with them the reason why this is wrong, and why it impacts you as a child and also impacts other people. Then instruct on what needs to be done should you find yourself in such situations. Then empower them by telling them, for example, I noticed like yesterday, the light was on, I left light on, but I noticed when I came in, you had put it off. That is a sign of responsibility. So you're already empowering them. Then when it comes to punishment, it comes from the word poena. Poena means basically penalty. So it means the moment you have done this, there is consequence for that. No discussion. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care about your thoughts. Whether it intimidates you or not, the thing is, you have to do this.
Do you discuss the kind of punishment?
Now, you can discuss with the child. Not punishment, now in this case, discipline.
Yes.
Because punishment is what teacher is telling us.
No, when you say you have done this, this is a consequence.
Yes.
Have you set that prior?
So oftentimes it's important to have a conversation around that, that in case if you come home late at 6 and yet we agreed 5:30, this is what will happen. Maybe not watching TV, not watching a movie, not eating a certain whatever dish, whatever it is, you agree on a number of things. Or this Saturday you're not going out because of that. So they will understand the reason why I'm not going out is because of this and that. So you have to tell them, for example, like this, don't you like becoming a doctor? They will say, yes, I like that. But you see, you have not done your homework. And doctors usually, they really study for them to get there. You know? So the child will relate becoming a doctor and being responsible. And so responsibility, and becoming a doctor becomes a motivation, but then they become responsibility along the way. I mean, they become responsible along the way. So that's why it's key to actually have discussions with them. Of course, there are things we may not be able to discuss with our children. You will come and tell them, you know what, this is wrong. And because they are coming from a point of responsibility, and they respect you as a parent, and they see you as their mentor, and someone who really takes care of them, then they will not feel threatened. They will understand, and they will be able to follow and discipline themselves.
And I think a lot of times parents are really not doing the right things because parents like to spank and beat a lot. I wonder if that works, because even when you're talking about the discussion you have had and decided if you do this and you don't, or if you don't do this, then this is a consequence. You know, parents have a certain kind of nature or heart that does not allow them to implement when that time comes. They become so lenient and start feeling sympathy again. You know, when you said this Saturday you will not go out, so everyone else is leaving and you want to leave this only child in the house, and you feel like, okay, let's just go. But next time, you know, we often change. Yeah, there's that sympathy. And so I just wonder, really, is there a particular standard right way of doing this? I would like to hear just one word from you as you say your parting shot, as you finish up. Less than 5 seconds. Just say the last words you want to say.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say, we as a parent, we have to cooperate with our kids.
Okay.
Because without that cooperation, things will get worse. Sometimes you can see a child of your neighbor. What do you say? Tusi kutusi. Anatusi mtu is a child, a 9 years old. Then you want to go and discipline him or her. Then his mother will come and beat you because that cooperation with you and the neighbor. Long time ago when I grew up, my mom, yes, is not my mom, is not my dad.
Even a neighbor, not your auntie.
Is a neighbor, come and beat you because you do something wrong. And nowadays, even you see he broken some windows in another neighbor, you can't even talk.
So you're saying we should get back to the community.
Yeah, the community.
Okay, Nelly.
Thank you very much once again, Betty. Mine is just to say that it's not possible alone. There are those 3 G's that we have always talked about, the pot. The parent, the child, and the teacher must work together in order to inform that child.
Yes.
Otherwise, with one out, the G will fall. And therefore, I think it's important that teacher, parent, and child make that triangle so that they can form that responsible Kenyan citizen or child.
Awesome. Silas.
Yeah, for me, parenting does not come with any manual. So that's why we all struggle.
It's learning on the job.
The best person to teach us on parenting is our children. So we look at their behavior and whether they irritate us. So we need to know there's a particular area that we need to work on ourselves, especially like we're having anxiety and we are panicking all the time that my child is going to be this or the other way. So we need to work on that area of our lives. Maybe sometimes we are too authoritarian. And so we will see that, for example, when the child asks, Mom, can I watch TV? No. Why? Because I said so. So the way we respond to our children will help us to become better parents. Read more also is another thing that you can do. There are many books that have been written on parenting. You can listen to something. You can also go for seminars. And above all, you can also go for therapy. So that a therapist or a psychologist is able to work with you and realize the areas that you're challenged as a parent and also explain to you or help you realize the outcome of your parenting style on your children.
Wow. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That has really been informative. Thank you, viewer, for watching this. I hope you have taken lots of things home. Your children are so young. You can form them, you can shape them, you can bend them into the shape that you want. You've gotten the information. The teachers are always here to help. And from what Madam Nelly said, your cooperation, even as a parent, is